Okay. So we're going to start with just a simple command called echo. So for those, please, how many of us use some programming languages? If you do, you can just react with a thumbs up. In programming languages, when you want to print a statement, what do you normally use? You can drop it in the chat box. When you want to print like an output or a statement of something, what do you use? Okay. Goodness has answered. Print. Yeah. Sometimes you use print, sometimes you use echo. Those are the two most popular. Yeah, she said console.log. That's how you know JavaScript people in the house. Yeah. So those are two the one of the two most popular, that's echo or print, right? And in Bash, we use something called echo. So if I want to just run a simple command and I just say echo and I say hello ladies, right? And I echo, you see, it prints it out for me. This echo statement is the same as printing out. So you use it to print words to the terminal. There are times whereby you're running a script and maybe you want the script after it has finished running something, you want it to tell you successfully ran. At the end, you can use echo to print out what you like, what it should say. So first command of the day is echo. Secondly, we're going to talk about having like creating a script file and what do you call it? Executing that script that you have created. So I'm going to be creating a simple file, and let me see, I'm going to be using, let me use Nano, I guess. I'm going to be using Nano, and I'm going to be writing a script, and let's say the name of my script is, let me say just hello. All right, let's say hello.sh. So this extension .sh is how you save bash scripts. Anytime you see anything that ends with .sh, that is a script. And if I say enter, it's going to take me in here, right? So first of all, when you want to write bash scripts, there's a line you have to add. If you don't add that line, it wouldn't work. And they call it the shebang line. So you have to add a hash, exclamation mark, then you say /bin/bash. I think for those who work with C++ or so, you have to do something similar, right? So this is called the shebang line. And what does this do? It just specifies the script interpreter. This is the script interpreter, which says use bash. That's all it means. And it just tells the system that, okay, this file that I have should be executed using the bash shell. So that's why it's compulsory for you to add this line. Also, the same way we have comments in programming languages are the same way you can add a comment to your script. So if I just say hash, and I say this is a comment, right? This line, the comment line, will not be executable because it's the same way we write comments to explain. What's the use of comments in programming language, right? It's just that we write it to maybe sometimes explain a block of text or so, a block of code, right? So it works the same way in Bash. Whenever you add this, it will be ignored during execution. It would not take it as a line of code or anything. That's how it works. So it's not really compulsory. Since I don't need it, I'm just going to clean it off. And now that I have the script, I'm going to write, we're going to write something, right? So we're just going to echo a simple statement to the terminal. And this time what I want to echo is just going to be maybe, hello, ladies, how do you do today? Right? And this is what I have. Now, we all know that when we want to exit from our Nano editor, we have to use a Control X, right? Then enter Y to save it. So I could just say Y, and then it says file name, write hello.sh, and you just say enter. That file has been saved. If I want to view what is in this script, I'll just say cat hello.sh, and I can see what's in the file, right? So here's the thing. Step 1, we added the shebang line, right? This line. Step 2, we added a command to echo command to display text. Step 3 is you need to make that script executable. And by making it executable, it means that you cannot run the script unless you give it executable permissions, right? So right now, the name of our file is hello.sh, right? If I say ls, where is it? Hello.sh has read write, read permissions. X is the executable. Do you guys remember from yesterday? So right now it says read write for the owner. It has read write for a group and read for others. So if I want to run this script, it would never work because it doesn't have X, and X means executable. So we need to change it. Yesterday we spoke about changing mode and all of that. So I'll use my chmod and say, okay, to make my script executable, this is the command. You use a plus, you use an X, and then you say hello.sh, okay, hello.sh, and then enter. We have changed the permission, and if I want to view the permission now, I can just see from here. You see it has changed. It now has executable permission, which is this X has been added. Now, once I change the permission to my script, I can now run the script. And the way to run the script is by saying what? All I need to say is like, I have to put a full stop and slash. What this means is that you should look, this dot slash means looks for this, it tells the system that, okay, look for this file in the current directory. And what is our current directory? If I say pwd, our current directory is Ubuntu, and that's where our file is, right? So dot slash, then I have to write the name of the file, which is hello.sh. And if I press enter, you see, guys, it executes the statement and prints it out, which is says what? Hello, ladies, how do you do today? That's how you run a very simple script. Before we move on, does anybody have any questions, please, or anything you would like me to go back on? If not, you can just react on the screen so that I can move to the next part. Okay, great. Moving on, we're going to be working with variables now. So as I mentioned, the same way we have in other programming languages is the same way it also works here. There are variables, there are functions, and there are all of those things, right? So now we're going to be working with variables, and I'm going to be creating a new file. Let's say nano. I'm going to say first script .sh. Right? So now that I'm nano first script.sh, can anybody tell me what's the first thing I should write? Since I started, I'm in a new file. What do I write first? Anybody?
Hash, exclamation, /bin /bash.
Thank you very much. Please, who was that? Because I'm not seeing my screen.
Mary.
Thank you, Mary. And this is how it works. So you have to add this line. Then next up, variables. We all know how variables work, right? First of all, variables allow you to store and reuse information in your script. That's basically what variable is for. So when you create variables, it's because you're probably going to store data that you can use in different places, or you can manipulate or reuse within your script. And there are different types of variables, right? We have string variables that store text. We have numeric variables that store numbers. And then we have environment variables. So there's something called global variables, I think, in JavaScript also. And those are like predefined variables that are available to all scripts. So my system can have like environment variables that whenever I have a script, it's going to use that variable in general, but we're not doing that. So that's like a whole other thing. So we're only going to be talking about string variables, and I'm just going to be showing you something simple. So let's say name. Of course, we know how variables work. You have the identifier and then value, right? So it's either x equals to maybe y, like this, or you say x equal to, let's say, 1. This is a numeric variable, and that is a string variable. But this time, we're just going to be defining something called name. And let me see, whose name can I pick from the class? I'm going to be using Elizabeth. Okay. And let's say name. We're going to write Elizabeth. So this is my variable, Elizabeth. Next up, I want to print maybe a message, right? That's what I want my script to do. I want to execute a message that says maybe, hello, the person's name, and welcome to something, something, right? So let's say, what do? We use our echo to print that statement. And I just say, hello, the person's name. We all know how, if we want to reference a variable, right? Sometimes you use the $sign. It depends on the programming language, but the most popular one is the $sign. So it also works the same way in Bash. Okay, I didn't spell my echo well, and if we had run this file, it would have just failed. So you see, guys, if it's a Bash command, you see it had changed. When I misspelled it, it was just white, right? But when I changed it to the correct command, you see the color even changed. That means we're on the right track. So hello, and then I'll use my $sign, and I'll say name. That's the name of my variable, right? And then I continue, and I say, sorry, and I say, welcome to Bash scripting. And I am done, right? And to save, I have to say Control X, Y, enter, and that is it. And what's the next thing I'm supposed to do? Anybody? Anyone?
You want to print it.
Uh,
That's more
I
like
think we have to execute.
dot slash the
Yeah.
name
Sorry?
dot sh.
/name. Is that
Dot
correct?
slash name dot sh.
Okay.
The name of the file dot sh.
Okay. Okay. Is that correct, everybody?
You would want to, I'm not sure, but I
Go
think you
ahead.
might want to edit it so that no one will be able to modify it also. I don't know.
No. Well, you're also on track. Well, that's not it. Anybody?
Yeah, the permission. I think we need to check the permission if there's executable permission for the file.
Exactly. So that's what we're supposed to do next. If my file is not executable, it can't be run. It will never run. And if I check, let's say LSL, name of the file, you see firstscript.sh. Look at it. It's even in white color. That's how you know that it can't be executed. And it doesn't have the X permission, which X stands for executable. When we worked with hello.sh, we made the permission, and that is why it changed color to green, which means it's executable. And then when you check the permissions here, you see X, X, and X. Firstscript.sh doesn't have that, so we need to do it. And how did I say we do it? We need to say change mode plus X, name of the file, which is first script, tab. And that's it. Now, if I say LSL again, you see, guys, it has changed. It has executable permission. If I don't do this, it wouldn't work. Great. Now, let's execute this. I'll just go in my terminal. Yes, goodness, please go ahead.
So for the executable command, are we giving the executable command to everyone, the user, the group, and others?
Okay, so that's not how it works, right? When you use that executable command, you're just trying to say that that file is executable. But it's different when you say that, okay, who can execute this file? It also applies the same way we have been doing group owner, what do you call, what's the rest? I can't remember. Group, owner, and
Others.
yeah, and others, right? And others. Thank you very much for reminding me. So it's also the same way whereby when you change that permission now, I think let me go back so that we can see it. Also, what I would have expected you guys to ask was also, why are we using you? Did you notice when I was changing the permission, right? I was using this plus X. So what do you guys think that means? What do you guys think was that benefit of that? I will answer also goodness question.
X is executable. So
Nuh-uh.
plus add executable.
Thank you very much. So that's what it does, right? So now looking at this permission, this first character, where's my cursor? This first character, this dash, right? It means like it indicates a file type. It just means, okay, this dash means it's a regular file. If it's a D, in here, you see this place is a D, right? This one top here, it's a D. The one for project, it's a D. The one for Snap, the first character is a D. That means a directory. But when you see a dash, it means a regular file. Next up, the next three characters, right? We have RWX. So what this means is that the owner's permission, right? As we did, the user who owns the file. R stands for read, W stands for write, and X stands for execute. Secondly, the next three characters is also what? RWX. Works represents the group permission the same way the owner's permission is. And what is the next one? It's just two more characters, right? R-X. And as we know, the last three characters represent what? Others, everyone else's permission. R stands for read here. The dash means write permission is denied. It means other people cannot modify the file. Then X means executable, which means others can execute the file and run the file as a program. But the only thing they can do is write, which is why W was missing. So that's what it means. Goodness, does this answer your question?
Yes.
You hesitated. What else?
Okay. I know how to add the executable for all of them. Yeah. So my question was that the fact that if you add only executable for owner,
Mm-hmm.
will it not work? Or you need to add for the three before it will work? That's more like it.
Okay. Mary also raised her hand. Mary, do you want to tell me what your question is?
Yes. So I wanted to ask, can we also
Mm.
use that she mode? So now maybe 664, something like that, instead of using that plus X for this particular command.
Okay, so you're trying to say, do we need to use the, what do you call it, plus X, that's executable, right?
Yes.
Permission. Instead, you just want to say change mode 644, then the name of the file,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes.
here's the thing. The reason why we do this is it's required in scenarios whereby you want to make that file executable, right? That's one. Secondly, that command adds, even if you use like, what do you call it? The 644 permission, and you use it, right? It still might result in permission denied. Because when you just say 644 file name, what exactly are you changing there? When you were doing 644 file name, what was changing, if you remember? Was it, what did it X
Okay, so
in it?
644 now will not be read write for owner.
Exactly, that's all it's going to do.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Now I get.
if you don't add that plus X, it will never give it executable permission. All 644 does is for you to specify the read write permission without any execution permission. That's what it does. You understand? So that's to answer
Yeah.
your question.
Yeah,
While
thank you.
for you're welcome. While for goodness, you mentioned that can you make it non-executable, right? For maybe groups and others, you only want yourself as the owner to execute that file. Is that what you were asking? Goodness. Goodness, can you hear me? Oh, goodness is not here. Yeah. But just to answer her question, so what she was saying was now, right now, the owner has permission, group has permission, and if you don't want them to have permission, what do? It's also very easy. All you need to do is change mode. You say G X. G stands for what? Group. Minus X means remove executable permission. Comma. If I say O minus X also, it means remove executable permissions from owners. And I put the name of the file, let's say hello.sh. Okay. Why it's not working? It is invalid mode. Let me confirm this. Okay, I put a space because it was a space there. Anyway, so now we have this, right? If I say LSL, do you guys see where is it? It has removed permission. Now look at who has permission. The owner has read write execute permission. The group only has read write permission, and the what do you call it? The others have only read permission. So both groups now cannot execute this file. Only the owner can. So that's the answer goodness question. You can choose to give everybody executable permission, and you can choose to give just one person or one group the permission. Depends on you. Anyway, so I hope we all got that. So I can move on to let's echo our variable. Are we good? You can just react, please. Thumbs up, anything. Okay. Okay. Good, good, good. Thank you. Now, moving on. So we have created our first script, which if I say cats, first script, this is the file. This is the content of the file, right? And to run this script, what do we do? What do we do to run the script, guys? Anybody want to tell me?
Dot slash first
Okay.
script sh.
Thank you. And if I enter, what does it say? Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to Bash Scripting. And that is it. So this our variable, we can see it there, and it picks it up, and we reference it properly. And that is how you define variables in script, script, and how you use it in your file. Next up, we can use, what do you call it? We're going to be doing conditional statements, right? Which is an if-else statement. So anybody here can maybe explain what what they think a conditional statement is, popularly known as if-else. Anybody?
Is it what if else? Like maybe what if something is equals to this? Do this, else do this.
Okay, so which is condition, right? I think if you did maybe inference in mathematics, there's this whole if A implies B, then answer is B. If B implies A, that kind of thing. So that is what a conditional statement is, right? And you can also use, and what do we use conditional statement to do is to make decisions. That's all it's used for. And you can also do the same in Bash scripts. You can make decision using if else statement. So what we can do, just to let me explain how that works. We can create maybe a conditional statement that create a script and checks maybe if a file exists. So we created some files during our assignment, right? So we can use our script to confirm if those files exist. So imagine instead of having to go CD, PWD, all those things, LS, this, that, instead you just have maybe a script that you say, okay, I need the script to check if I have a file every time. So do you see how we're already automating, and instead of running multiple commands, you can just have a script that has those commands and then you can run that command, right? So we're going to create a new script. Let's say nano, let's call it file check .sh. Okay, we're in. First thing to add is always the shebang. So your hash, your slash bin, slash bash, and we can now write our conditional statement. So we all know how it works now. So if let's say A equal B, then B equal A, that kind of thing. So that's what we're doing right now. So I'm just going to say if, but this is how we write it here, -f. So I'll explain the code to you guys once I'm done writing the line. /f, single sign, one. So I'm just going to run this and see if I come back with any, possibly I might have indentation error. It exists. Okay. Else. Echo. So I press tab for my echo lines just so that I'm sure, so that I can be on the same line, because there's always indentation factors. Okay. Funny when we say FI. So I'm going to tell you guys something. This statement, the first line, right? If dash F, that's if file exists. Then we have a variable, right? So what that line does, it just checks if a file is passed as the first argument. Does it exist? So we're going to be defining a file when we want to run the script, right? So that's that's the argument it's passing to this command. So it checks, does it exist? If it does, you say file exists. That's then echo this. But if it does not exist, say file, the argument passed, the first argument does not exist. And what does this mean? This means finish. So it's very important to add this in your when you're writing conditional statements. So we're going to save this. Let's say Control X, Y, enter, and we're back to the screen. Now, what do we do first? We change the permissions and make it executable. And then we have file that check the sh. When we say LSL, we see that it's executable now. And to run this, we say dash dash file check. That's the name of our file, right? So earlier, guys, do you remember that we created some text? We created some documents for our assignment. Who remembers the documents? Can anybody remember the name?
Was it the assignment you gave to us yesterday?
Yeah.
Is it the plan testing or ideas testing?
Thank you very much. Do you remember the folder they are?
Yes. Projects is the primary folder. Then the subdirectories are archive and the resources.
Okay. Thank you for remembering. So we have plan.txt in project, right? So let's say I'm trying to confirm if that file exists, right? So what do I do? Okay, sorry. So if I want to do, what do you say?
Okay, you want to check if the file exists, right?
So what I do, I say,
You
okay,
can
this
do
is
ls to check if it's there.
okay. So let's say we know it exists. I'll assume you're correct, Mary. I'll just assume. So if I want to now check using my command if that file exists, instead of me saying ls, I'll now go and come back cd dot dot all those stress, right? So I can just call the name of my script and I now say project, which is the name of the directory the file exists in, right? So is this the path, Mary? You want to confirm this?
It should be project resources then plan.txt.
Plan.txt. Okay, so like my scripts, there might be some indentation error. So let's go back there. Nano file. Okay. It says line 3, which is if. Okay. It's my fault. So guys, please, Bash is very, very, in fact, see, indentation sensitive, case sensitive, everything sensitive you can think about. So why this through that error was the bracket, there was supposed to be a space. Sorry, not before it, before this dash F, there's supposed to be a space. You see now that we did the dash, you see how the file name, the F changed. So I should have known that it was not correct earlier. So you have to be very careful with those kind of mistakes. But you can make it. Life would not end, right? But at least I know that there was an error. So it was saying that this file does not exist. So we can go and confirm whether it actually does. And then we have resources. ls. Okay, I think I have plan.txt. I'm going to go back to my home directory and just run my command again. So what does it say? The file project plan.txt, or it exists there. Did we get this? Anything, guys? You want me to go over this again, or are we a bit confused?
Please, can you explain that line of code again? That's if $1 code. Like, I'm still confused.
Okay, in what aspect?
Okay, so that's dash F
Okay,
equals
well,
$1. So what does it that $1? What does it is it like a true or false that $1? Like I don't know what does it mean?
okay. So let's go back to the file. Give me a minute. That's not I'm going to have the file again. File check. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's break it down, right? If conditional statement, we all know what that means. It checks whether a certain condition is true, right? And this bracket, it's like they call it like test command, right? So it evaluates expression inside the bracket. That's what it means. So anything you put inside there, it's like that's what you want it to look for. That's the expression. Maybe you want to check is 1 greater than 2 or is 1 less than 2. Those things are called expressions, and that's what we fit inside this bracket itself. Now, this dash F is a file test operator. So it just checks that the provided argument, if it is it a regular file. We're trying to check for files. That's what that dash F means. So it just returns, okay, if it's true, it returns success. But if it doesn't exist, if the file exists and is a regular file, it will return that. And the $1 represents like the first argument passed to the script when it is executed. So in Bash, we have things like $1, $2, $2, $3, etc. All they refer to are like propositional parameters. So when arguments are passed to the script, like which are the arguments that are passed to the script? So what did we say we were looking for? We were looking for a file, right? So that file that we're looking for would be passed to this parameter. You understand? So what it just does is it checks if the first argument, that's the $1, passed, which is the name of the file we passed, to the script, whether it's there. So if the condition is true and the file exists, the script will execute. If not, then it will return the else statement. Do we get that?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think somebody raised their hand. Okay, goodness, please go ahead.
Sorry for dragging you back. I missed out when you were saying, when you were explaining the $1, and if that -f, what it also means.
Okay. So I said -f is a file test operator. In Bash, there are a series of operators and commands that you can check. -f just means it checks that if the argument, what are we looking for? We're checking if files exist, right? So what it does is it checks that if that file that we're looking for is a regular file. And what it does is it returns true or false. So if the file exists and is a regular file, not a directory or special file, just a simple file, that's what it's looking for. And that's what we're checking. That's why it's -f. Later on, I'll send you guys a series of test operator commands. And those commands are used inside this bracket because they're conditional commands. They help us look for things or files, or they check if the argument is correct. And the $1, I said that it's like an argument that you pass to the script when it is executed. Think of it as a variable. We spoke about variables just a minute before, right? So now we didn't define the file that we were looking for inside this place, right? So instead of defining it, we can just say, okay, we have $1. It is just they're in Bash, they're actually called I think I've forgotten what they're called. Okay, they're called propositional parameters. Yeah. So you have $1, $2, $3, etc. Right? So that when we run the script, remember we defined the name of the file we were looking for. So that file is now passed to this $1. Then it checks if it exists. That's basically all it does. Think of it as a like variable, nothing too technical, nothing too serious. Don't overthink it. It's just like, okay, we're passing that argument to this $1. If it is condition is true, it's going to run the continuous statements. Do you understand, goodness?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So moving on. And so to check if that file exists, we were able to run our above command. So sorry, I'm just going to clear my screen again. And I want to do something, guys. I'm going to say cd project / resources. Okay. So I'll show you guys something else. So if I say /file, okay, one more. So let's say now, assuming we want to check using our command, right? Okay, this was the command, /file check. We want to check for another file in our directory. Do you remember we created one hello.sh? If I say hello.sh, what does it say? File hello.sh exists. That's just simple way to check instead of running so many commands or going into so many directories. You will notice when we wanted to check for that directory, we had to enter a path, and that's because of how our script was written. There are very dynamic ways to do this, and which is way easier. And if you guys still don't understand this, I can always come back. Maybe another time we can set a session during the week whereby I come back and re-explain this, because right now I think we have just less than 20 minutes left. So I'll be moving on to loops. So when we say loops, right, I think most of us would know what loops is. And what does a loop do? A loop just allows you to run a set of commands repeatedly. That is it. It's called a loop. You just keep running a set of commands repeatedly. So now okay. Okay, so let's go back to our first script, which we said first script.sh, right? And this is where we printed Elizabeth's name. Now, how many of us here have worked with loops, please? Let me know. Anybody work with loops? Okay. Okay, I guess if she hasn't. Nobody has? I'm actually shocked that Mary, goodness, nobody has worked with loops.
No, I've not.
Oh wow. Okay. So for
I
loop,
have when I was in school, but I've forgotten, please.
oh my god. So okay, I'm just going to be verbally explaining, right? So loops are a concept in programming language. We know that. And scripting allows us to execute a block of code multiple times, right? Without having to, let's say, write the same code repeatedly. That's what we use scripting for. So in Bash, what we use loops for is to automate repetitive tasks. Now, there are different types of loops. I think we used to say we have the for loop, while loop, and until loop, right? Until loop. So for loop, what does it? Okay, I think somebody wants to join. So what does for loop do? For loop, it iterates over a list of items, right? By list of items, it means that and it executes a block of code for each item. So you can see, oh, for maybe for a condition that for when a equals to 5, execute this. For a in this thing, so it's a list of item it iterates over and it executes that block. While for while loop, which is the second one, it continues to execute as long as the condition is true. So let me think of an example. If I say, well, okay, so we can say, well, maybe thinking of an example. Okay, so why pineapple is a fruit, execute pineapple is a fruit and echo it. Pineapple is a fruit. Pineapple is a fruit. So that condition is true. Pineapple is a fruit. That's why it's executing that. But if pineapple is not a fruit, it would not run. So while the condition is false, it would not execute it. But while it's true, it's going to execute a block of code. While until loop, it's going to continue executing until like your condition that you have specified becomes true. So until so is true. If not, keep executing this block of code until it's true. But for now, we can just maybe focus on the for loop and see, right? So we're going to run a very simple command. So remember when I said for loop is to iterate over a list of items. So let's say for I in 1 dash dash 5. So this is an expression. This is how you express 1 to 5. So I means, let's say, number. I is a variable in this sense. Don't forget what I said. Earlier, we were defining variable like we can say I equals to something, but because we don't want to define it like that because there's a list of items here, we'll just say for I in the expression 1 to 5, do what? We can say echo this is loop number. How do we reference I here, please? Anybody can tell me? If we wanted to print with a number of for I in 1 to 5, for each number in 1 to 5, we wanted to print it out. How do I reference it here?
VI plus.
Sorry?
Dollar and I.
Dollar and I. Thank you very much. So I'm going to say dollar and I, because I is the name of my variable. So moving on. So I wanted to echo this, and once it's done, and is going to, you have to add the done command. So you see all these green distance. They are called special, I think special words or special. There's something they call special words in programming language, and the terminal will even show you that these are keywords in that programming in that language, right? So they're not normal words. So that's why they're turning green. Well, echo is a command. That's why it's in blue. And this is my string. So I can now say done. So now if I say Control X, Y, enter, we're back here. So now let's change, let's make, okay, I think our script was already executable, right? I can't remember. Let me check LSO. As first script, yes, it's executable. So now let's run it. And also, remember earlier, I've been showing you guys how to run a script doing like this, right? There's also another way to do that. Instead of doing this, you can also say bash and say, and the name of the file. See, guys? It works. So what did you say? This is loop number 1. So for each, let me cut the file out so I can explain it again. So for each number in 1 to 5, print the number. That's what this simply does. So for I in 5, and what will I in 5 be? The first thing will be number 1, right? For next number will be for what? Number 2. So it's going to go I in 1, 1, print this loop number 1. Then it will go back again. I in 2, print loop number 2. Then it will go back again. So we use for to iterate over a list of items. So I think I'm just going to show you guys. Do you guys want me to give you examples using the other types of loops, or should we move on? And then maybe something you can check out yourself later on. Let me know what you guys think.
You can show us example.
You want an example?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go. We're going to create a script. Let's say nano while loop.sh, right? As usual, we add our comment exclamation /bin/bash. And while loop, we said executes a block of command as long as the specified condition is true. And as I'm saying this, you might not understand, but what it does is it just checks if each condition before each iteration is true. If it's true, the loop will execute. But if the condition is false, even if the condition is false at the start, it would not iterate. So let's say, let's write a simple command maybe that we can count down from, let's say, 1 to 5, right? I think like we can do that. So first of all, we have to add our variable, and we say let's count equals to 5. That's my first condition. So I can say while, right? So let me say, well, since it's a variable, we have to reference it. While, sorry, when there it's $, while count, right? Sorry. So we can say while count. So I said there are a bunch of commands in what do you call it? Bash, right? So to check if count is greater than 0, I want it to decrease that count by 1. So I want it to print it for me in ascending order. So like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I can say if count is greater than 0, that's my first command. 0. If this is true, do this. I can now say echo. Let's say count down. Reference the variable as the number so that I can print it out for us. And once it's done, we want it to what? We want it to minus. So this count, which is our variable, minus minus. So let me explain it before I go on. Our variable count is equals to 5, the integer 5. So we said, while this variable that we said is equals to 5 is greater than 0, obviously, this is already true. This line is already true. If this line is not true, this block of code will never run. That's about while loop. So if this is true, I want you to print the countdown. This is just text. This thing is string. It's just any text. I can write anything. But when I said $count, I am referencing this. So I wanted to say count down the number. The next step I said, after it has finished echoing this, I wanted to reduce the number by 1. Decrease the count by 1. So this count minus minus means minus. The way you're seeing it, like minus 1 number from that variable. And once I do this, I want it to stop. Right? Do you guys understand this? And I can add a simple statement at the end that says, maybe I'm done. I can say another one, echo, yay. Now, let's save this. Before I leave, guys, do we understand, or do you want me to explain anything again? Anything?
I don't even understand.
You're confused? Okay, let me print the output first so that you understand. Let's print it. So let's change mode plus X, right? What's the name of our this thing? While loop, no sh. We can say bash while loop the sh. So do you see what it did? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let's go back to the code. Count in the beginning was what? 5. I said, while this variable count, this is how we're referencing it. Remember, this variable just means 5 here. Is greater than 0. Is 5 greater than 0? Yes, it is, which means this line is true. While it is true, I want you to do this. You understand what I'm saying? Now do what? Print count down this and then the number of the variable 5. It's that we started from 5. After you are done printing this, then I want you to minus 1. Do you guys understand? It will now minus 1, then it gets done. Then it goes back. Now that it has minus 1, what is left? We have 4. It will now come back again. Is 4 greater than 0? Yes. If 4 is greater than 0, print countdown 4. This is why we have this line here. After I print countdown 4, it will minus 1 again. What does it become? 3. Is 3 greater than 0? Yes. It's going to print this. Countdown equals to 3. Then it will minus 1. Then it goes to 2. Is 2 greater than 0? Yes. It's going to print countdown 2 minus 1. Is 1 greater than 0? Yes. The same thing. Then 1 minus 1 is what? 0. Is 0 greater than 0? No, it is not. And since this statement is now false, what does it do? It comes here and what do you call it? Breaks the statement and stops running it because the statement is false. It will not execute. And once this is false, what do we now print? We just added text. I am done. Yay. That's simple. Do we understand?
Yes.
Okay, this yes is not sounding.
No. Yes, I do understand.
Okay. So, but do you understand what now for while loop? While loop, this first block of statement, the block of statement has to be true. If it is not true, the statements will never run. And then we spoke about until statement, right? Like until. So I'm going to be using my while loop. I'm just going to modify it. So we mentioned using let's say until, and I'm just going to say for until, what it does is the loop will repeat, like it will execute a block of command until a specified condition becomes true. So I'll just write the code so that you understand what I mean. So let's say now we want count. Let's say it should be equals to 1 instead. And instead of while, I'm going to say until. So let's say until count is greater than maybe 5, or let's say 10. So as long as 1 is greater than 10, do the following. So what? Count, let's say count equals to, then let's say the variable. Then instead of count minus minus, what do we want to do? We want to count up to, we're not counting down. So instead of minus minus, we'll just say count plus plus, which means increase the count by 1. So I'm going to remove all of this. So I'll go again. Count equals to 1 means initialize the variable with count with the value of 1 until count is greater than 10. The loop should continue until the count is greater than 10. You understand what I'm saying? So it means that keep going, but once count is greater than 10, that's when like you should stop. And then we printed the count. That's when we said echo count equals to the count, and then we increase the value by 1, right? So when once count reaches 11, this thing will stop running. That's just what it means. So now if I save this, yes, while loop, it's already executable, and we say bash while loop. Do you guys see? It stops counting when count is equals to 10. Do we understand, or are we lost? Because I feel like I've lost 3 people somewhere, and now everybody has everybody's confused. So I didn't see. Maybe is anybody raising their hand? Yes, goodness.
Okay, I understand this while loop and until loop, but I have a question for the for loop.
Okay, I'm listening.
So you did you named it I. Like, how do I say it? I
Yeah,
equals something. So I was thinking that I is supposed to be 1 for I equals 5. I think that was what you wrote or something.
no.
So,
Let's
but I want to know what that I, why is that I there? Is the I equivalent to 1?
okay. Let's go back. This is it,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
Do you remember when we did I? Okay, we have variables, right? I told you there's a variable name and there's a variable value, right?
Yes.
Variable itself is the name can be anything. When you're coding, there are different types of variable. We say there are variables like numbers. You can say X is a variable. Y can be a variable. We have variables like things like first name. They call it camel case, I think. Camel case. We have things like I've forgotten what they call this type, first name, things like that. All these are variables. So this I is nothing but a variable. You understand me? So instead of I, if I say G, right? For G, it can be anything. It's just a variable. And I come here and I say the dollar sign, the variable I'm referencing it here as G. I can put X. Instead of G, I can say for number. If I say for number instead, for number, I in 1 to 5. I can name it anything I want. Anything. So for I number 1 to 5, let's do this and say Control X. Let's save. Y, enter. Let's run the script. Bash first. What does it say? This is loop number 1. So that I is just the name of a variable. You can name it whatever you prefer. You understand, goodness?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's all it's for. So moving on, I want to just I want to show you guys about maybe cron job. Or first, before the cron job, I want to show you guys, let's write a script that backs up a directory. So maybe quick question to everybody here. Have you ever like maybe changed your laptop and then maybe you lost some files and all of that?
Yes.
and then maybe you didn't back up. If I even tell you how do you back up, let's say you're even on a server now. You're on a server and there's a database and you want to back up that database. How do you do? You need to learn how to do this. So in Bash, we can create scripts, right? So let's say we can back up files, we can back up directories, we can back up a database, right? And all of that. So in our assignment, we had two directories we named resources and another we named archive, right? So we can quickly maybe do a quick task on how to back up those directories. So let's say I'm gonna clear my page. We have a script. Let's call it, what should we call it? Anybody? Give me an idea.
Maybe backup.sh.
Thank you very much. Backup.sh. We're in. So, as usual, we have to add our shebang. I'm just going to say /bin/bash. Now we have to define a source directory for backup. So when I say source directory, what do I mean? What are we trying to back up? Itself, right? What is that thing we want to back up? So that is the source directory. So I can now name it src. Src is a variable. Oh, please note this. Src is my variable. Nobody should be confused. So let's say src, and then the name of the folder is what? Was resources, right? Great. That's our first step. Second step, if we have a folder that we want to back up, so where are we taking it to? We need a destination, right? So we now have to say, are you guys with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are here.
Okay. So now we need to define the destination variable. So I can just shorten it and call it this, and I now have to define the path where I want it to be backed up. And then we have a folder called archive, if you guys remember. All right. So I can say archive and call it maybe backup. This is also a variable, but my variable is a path. And sometimes, just to make things better, you can add the date of the backup, right? So I can have another variable here where I can say, so the system has variables, and date, year, and time are all system variables. So it's going to pick it up. This is how you define like dates as a variable. So yeah, you use your percentage, you say use your percentage, you say date. Because if you back up the file, assuming now you have a database, you back up your file, you don't know what date the file is. So sometimes it's good to add those kind of things there. So now we've added the date and all of that. So when we're done, this will create a folder named backup this date in this archive folder. That's what it would do. Next up, we now create like a backup directory. So how do we create a new directory? We say mkdir, right? If you say, then we say -p. What -p means is it tells the command mkdir that it should create any necessary parent directory if they don't exist. So it means that if this directory archive does not exist, please create it. But if it exists, ignore it. So that's what it's for. So I can say -p, then I'll now reference our variable destination. 1. That's how it works. After we create a directory, who can tell me what can be the next step? How do we back up? We did this commands yesterday. Who can tell me what we'll do?
CP.
Please, who is that person? I think I need to send you like a gift. Who is that?
It's very.
Okay. Mary, I have something for you. Thank you very much. What do we do? Use CP. CP is to copy files, right? So we now say CP now -r. So this dash R means you're allowed to copy files, directories recursively if there are any subdirectories. That's what dash R means. So what do we do now? We reference our source, what do you call it, folder. And our source folder is what? It's resources, but we reference it with the variable name. Then we say slash this. So whenever you see something like now, this is resources slash this asterisk, it means everything in that folder. That's what that command means. Wherever you see anything slash asterisk, it means everything in that path, everything in that folder is what I want you to take. So we are copying from resources to where? Archive. And what do? We also reference the destination folder with a slash. So what do we do? This source slash asterisk is the where the where the file should be copied. Destination is the target directory where the files will be copied to, and that is all. So, and also sometimes you can run commands, right? But always make sure you echo something, because I mentioned it earlier. I was like, write echo so that it can confirm if it's done. So if this is done, we can just say we echo a simple message that tells us, okay, backup of what do you call it? Let's reference it as a variable. The source folder completed at, let's reference the destination folder. And that is what I wanted to echo, just so that I know that it is done. That is it. Now, let's go. And I say Control X, Y, and enter. We make it executable, right, by saying what? Change mode plus X, execute it, backup .sh. If I say LSL, I can see that it's executable. So please, you guys just give me 1 minute. I'll be back. 1 minute. Okay, I'm back, ladies. Are we good? What's in our file? Okay. So, ladies, there's something that we should notice. If we run this script, it would fail. Who wants to tell me why it will fail? Who wants to tell me? Nobody? So let me see. If I say bash backup.sh, what did it say? No such file or directory. But who can tell me why this will fail?
Okay, we are not inside the directory,
Which directory?
the archive directory.
Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
I think because it has not been executed.
No. This is a directory issue. That's why it failed. But it's not the archive directory we're supposed to be in. There's something. Think about it. But it's a directory issue. Do you remember that the backup script is in where? This is the directory it's in, right? From Ubuntu. And resources and archive folders are in which directory, if you remember?
Yeah, they're in project directory.
Excellent. Now, looking at our file, backup script, looking at our file, how we reference the source here. Is this how we're supposed to reference it? Resources and archive?
No, we should have projects. Project.
Thank you very much. We should add project there. All right. This is supposed to be the correct path. If not, this would not execute. It wouldn't run successfully. So now, if we say control X, Y, enter. So guys, I want you to notice something also. What did this thing say? It says it cannot copy resources, blah, 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 no such file or directory. Then proceeded to say backup of resources completed at archive backup, the date and time. Why do you guys think this worked? This ran. This command ran. But if I go to this directory now, let's say project slash archive slash, it says, let's enter, right? If I say ls, do you see it there? It's not there. But why do you guys think this thing ran and told us that it's completed?
I think it created an archive directory.
It didn't. It didn't.
I think you echoed that stuff irrespective of if it is successful or not.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what happened. It echoed that stuff. And that is why people use conditional statement. Now, if we had used a conditional statement that said, if this file is there, is so, execute this. If not, do not. It would never echo this command. But because it's not a conditional statement, it executed it. It ran the echo command, whether or not it was successfully done. So these are ways. This is always better to use conditional statements to do some things. So everybody remember this. So I'm just going to go back to my root directory. Remember how to do it. CD, what do you call it? CD squiggly. That was Salima called it yesterday, squiggly button. So now we can clear, right? And let's execute our bash dot, what do we even call it? I think backup sh. And what did it say? Backup of project resources completed at project archive slash backup. Now, let's cd into this directory and see whether that's true. Ls, is it there? It's there. You want to enter the backup folder. I say ls. Everything that was in resources directory is now where? Is now here. Now, if we were to do this without a script, do you guys remember the step? All the steps we outlined in the script. Let me go back. cd. All right. Let's see. Cut back up. All the steps we executed here is exactly what we would have been doing manually, one by one, line by line. So instead of having this script and where you can just run this script using bash dot the name of the script, or running these commands one by one, which one would you prefer? And you can be able to reuse the script whenever you want for any document. Which one would you prefer if it was you?
This one.
Exactly. And as DevOps engineers, that's why we say one of your biggest tasks is automating a lot of activities and processes. Imagine manually maybe going to a server every day to do this rubbish. I mean, it's a waste of time, right? It doesn't make sense. This would now bring me to our next topic. But before we go, anybody has a question? Any question? Are you guys reacting, or maybe I'm not seeing your fingers? Because I can't view the screen properly. Yeah. Okay, then. So now, also another thing is, even though we come and run bash dots, what was now this thing? Bash dots So imagine having to manually come and do this every day. I'm pretty sure you can't do it, right? It's going to be very, very hard to come every day. Monday, maybe at 12 p.m., you come and back up. Then Tuesday at 12 p.m. And it has to be 12 p.m. dot. You come and back up manually. Even though you have written as a script, you are still manually doing it. And that is also not a good thing to do, right, as a DevOps engineer. So that is why we have something called cron jobs. It is spelled, this is how it's spelled, CRON jobs, right? And what does cron job do? It just allows users you can schedule your scripts or commands. The same way you have alarms that wake you up at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. That is what a cron job also does. You set your cron job to run at a fixed time or date or maybe interval, and you use it to automate repetitive tasks, such as, what did we just do? A file backup. So let's say we have a database that we want to be backing up every day. Would you come and run batch.backup every day? It doesn't make sense. Instead, you set a cron job, you write this command in your cron job, you give it the command to execute, and only the cron job does it, it executes it for you every single time. So you don't even need to come and suffer and say you're checking on it for anything. So that's what a cron job is. And a cron job has a syntax. I think I placed for you guys in the chat box. This is what it looks like. Please check the chat. That is a syntax for a cron job. That's what it basically does, right? And these 5 asterisks, can anybody guess what they represent? Can anybody guess? At least if people cannot guess, just do thumbs down for me. Is it me repeating myself? Okay. Remember, what did I say a cron job was, if you remember? Can anybody answer? What did I say a cron job was? It was similar to what? I said it was similar to something.
So alarm.
Thank you. And an alarm, what do we have? What is an alarm?
It is scheduled to execute at a particular time.
Thank you. What this means, this command asterisk, it just means the time. These 5 asterisks, you can count them, they're 5, right? If I say 0, you should be checking the chart, I'll be right in there. If I say 0, 0, 0, 0, that's how many asterisks? Just 4. This means that it should run every hour. You understand? This 0 stands for hour. If I say 30, let's say 2,
I think your screen is frozen.
I'm in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm in the chat. Anyways, if I say what I say? I say 0 with each asterisk runs like every hour. If I say 30 to this asterisk, 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 it means that this runs every day. It should run every day at 2:30 a.m. Are you guys understanding this?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry,
This should
you
run,
say inverted because 30 then 2
yeah.
and 2:30. How does it?
Okay, let's keep going. I'll show you.
Okay.
If I say this, let's say /5, more asterisks, I think 4. This one runs every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, I want you to run this this stuff. If I say 0, 12 asterisk, let's say asterisk 1 to 5. Can anybody guess what this means? Anybody? So I'll give you a hint. Minute, whenever it's a minute, this 5 asterisks, right? Whenever it's a minute, you represent it like this. I think I'll write it for you guys in the chat. So you can guess what this means. In a current job, it uses 24-hour clock. There's no such thing as 12 p.m. and see what you used to call it. It's either to 24, 0 to 24. That's how it works. So I'm gonna write this, and the last one is the day. So I'm going to be sending it to the chat. Everybody can look at it and guess what that last one means. Have we seen this? So minute is represented from 0 to 59. Hour, 0 to 23. Day, 1 to 31. Day of the month. Month, 1 to 12. And day of the week, 0 to 7. So who can guess what that last one means?
5th of January?
No.
I think it will run 12 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Oh my God. Who is that? Who is that?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, we got it. So it means that it should run Monday to Friday at 12 p.m. Number one, guys, remember, the second asterisk is for what? If you guys remember.
It's for hour.
Sorry, guys, can you give me 1 minute? I'll be back.
All right.
Okay, sorry, guys, I'm back. So as we were saying, the first asterisk is what? I think someone answered me. Let's say the first one is what?
Minutes.
Minutes, exactly. That's what the first asterisk means. It just says, okay, so now it will say 0. But if you say 0, 0 means the start of the hour, right? And if we say something like 30, 30 means 30 minutes past the hour. That's what it stands for. So like 0 means 00, of course, like 10 p.m. That 0 means the hour is just starting. If you say 30, it means 30 minutes past that time. Second asterisk is what? Hour. Hour for 0, it means midnight, as we all know. We know how it is on our phone. 000 means midnight. 1 means 1 a.m. 23 means 11 p.m. Right? That's how it works. The third asterisk is what? Day of the month, like I said. And what does this field do? 1 means every first day of the month. 15th means the 15th. And if you use something, if you leave it as an asterisk, it means every day. That's the thing. So if I say maybe, if I say 0, let's say, no, 0, 12, asterisk. This asterisk on the third one means run this current job 12 o'clock every day. That's what that asterisk means. Now, for month, we have how many months? 12 months in a year, right? First means January, second means February. If I say something like 0, 12, asterisk, this means run 12 o'clock every day, every month. And the last asterisk was day of the week, right? 0, I said 0 to 7. Sunday is both 0 and 7. 1 means Monday. and you go on to 6, which means Friday, Saturday. And it's the same thing too. If I use the asterisk, it means every day of the week. That's just what it means. Very simple. So I'm going to be asking you people now some questions. If I paste this means what? What do you think this means? All 5 asterisks. What does it mean?
Every minute, every day, every month.
Thank you very much. So this command will run every minute of every hour of every day of every month until you what do you say? Specify otherwise. That's what it means. If I say this, what does it mean?
Every hour of
Yes.
every day of every month.
Yes, you're very correct. So every hour, so by every hour, 12 run, 1 run, 2 o'clock run. That's what this command means. We're getting it. But goodness, I don't want you to answer again, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, you understand this. Somebody else tell me what this is. Anybody?
2:30 p.m.
Come on, ladies.
every
We can
day,
do this
every
now.
month. 2:30 p.m. every day, every month.
Hi, ladies. I lost my internet connection for a bit. Did anybody answer the last one?
Yes, 2:30 p.m. every day.
People should help me and talk now. What's up? If we don't understand, I can explain again.
Hello,
2:30
can you hear
a.m.
me?
Hi, ladies. Can you hear me? I think my internet is going and coming.
Yes, Amina, we can hear you.
So
Yes, we
everybody's
can
just
hear.
choosing to ignore me?
They were responding, but then you
Ouch.
wasn't hear them.
Ladies, ouch.
We can't hear you now.
I think we've lost her again.
Mary, she doesn't want to hear your answer.
She was hearing me by fire by force.
Ladies, seems like my network has started dancing. Sharp, sharp. Can you guys hear me? It's kicking me out for a bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you to those who answered 2:30 p.m. every day. Thank you very, very. But it's not, is it 2:30 p.m.? Yeah, it is. But wait, so it's not 2:30 p.m. Sorry, Mary, it's a.m. Thank you, Funke. I just remember that because if it's 2, if we said p.m., it's 14. We're going to say 30, 14, asterisk, asterisk. But it's 32, which means it's 2 a.m. every day. Now, moving on, next one. I think I'm going to be calling people right now. Wait, can you answer this one? Wait, can you take this?
Okay, Friday, 5 p.m. I don't know if that's correct. Friday.
This is Friday at 5 p.m. Thank you very much, Ogbemi, for answering this. And we all know how to run every 5 minutes. I think I told you guys how to run every like minute or so. So if I wanted to run every minute, it's just asterisk, 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 asterisk. All right. So that's how this works, guys. It's just like you guys can generate an expression online, but I wanted you to understand what every single expression meant. I think there are things like I think Rashida can share one with you. There are things like current job generators with you, right? And Rashida can paste maybe a link to one for you on the chat box. But it's good to know this things yourself in case you ever are reading code or you're reading a command so that you understand what it means. So that's how to understand what that means. So we're going to quickly schedule a quick cron job, and that is the end of our class today. So to schedule a cron job, what do? You say cron tab dash E. That is it. Now you need to select an editor that you want to use. Do we want to use Vim, Nano, whatever, but we've been using Nano, so I'm just going to say one and enter. You see, it brings me to a file where I can schedule my current job. All these are comments. So it says, edit this file to introduce tasks to be run by current job. Each task is to be defined through a single line indicating blah, 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 blah. To define the time, you can provide concrete values for minute, hour, day. This is the same thing we just did, right? It even gave you an example to run, to back up your accounts of your users every morning. This is how to do it. So even when you open it up, you can see it gives you hints, right? So let's say we want to run our current job every minute as we're on this call. So what do? Just 5 asterisks. 1, 2, 4, 5. And then what do? We say path to our file. I don't know what's the path to our file, which would be dash projects slash, what do you call the other one? I can't remember the names of our files.
I think slash archive slash backup.
Thank you. Okay, so sorry. What we should do first, we don't need to, this was a mistake on my end, we don't need to specify the, what do you call it? What do you call it too? The folder, since it's already in the script. That was a mistake. What we want to run is the script, if you remember. And where is our script? Our script is in the home page, right? So we can just say dot slash is in the home page, and it's called what? It's in the home, sorry, root folder. That's a mistake. And we're just gonna say backup dot sh. Do we understand this? So this is going to run what? When did I say it's going to run?
Every minute.
Every minute. Thank you very much. Sorry, give me a minute. I don't know, Rashida, have you been able to help them paste the current job expression generator? Okay, nice. We can continue. I was just quickly replying something. Sorry about that. So once we're done, we have our path, right? And we're good to go. We're good to go. So what do? We Control X, we save our file. Do you see the name of the file? Current tab, blah, 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 current tab. And I just say enter. And it installs a new current tab. Okay, so now let's wait for 1 minute. So what it will do now is during the next minute, it's going to back it up, right? It's going to run that script and it's going to back it to in that folder. So we're going to be going to what do you call it? What do you call it? We're going to be going to archive folder to check if it's backing it up there. Also, you would notice that when we created this current job, okay, also before we leave, sorry guys, there's a way to ensure that your current job is correct. You can verify it. right? And that's just by saying cron tab L. So you see what's there, what's in the file that we just created. So just to verify that everything is properly corrected. Also, I wanted to tell you guys something that for this path, right, it's always best to specify the full path instead of using this dot slash, just to be on the safe side. It's best to say, okay, you check your working directory that your script is in, which is /home/ubuntu/ this file. It's best to specify it like that instead of saying dot slash, right? So now just to confirm whether this even worked or maybe there's a path problem, let's see into projects. Let's go into archive. Let's say ls. So I'm saying that already it's not working because it's already been more than 1 minute and it should have populated it with the new folder. So with this means it's not working. So let's go back and specify the full path. Also, now that we're even going back to specify the full path, just to be on the safe side, who can tell me what was the command we're supposed to run? Who can guess?
Chrome tab -e.
Thank you very, very much. Chrome tab -e. Huh. What do we do? Specify. And what was the back? I can't even remember the part again. I think it was home/ubuntu, right?
Yes. / projects.
Okay, no. Just where the script is located. That's what we need.
Okay.
Huh. And this is the path, and we can say control X, Y, enter. Now, let's wait for it. I've adjusted it. So you can add more than one cron job in this cron tab E. You can have, if you like, 50,000 cron jobs that you have scheduled. Each line has its own, so you're not really bothering about anything. And if you want to confirm your changes have been made, I said you just say cron tab L, like we did above, which is cron tab L to verify. And we have our full path there. Okay. Also, you can schedule cron jobs according to users, but I don't want to confuse you guys. So I'm not gonna go into that too much. So I think, I don't know, has 1 minute lapsed? Let's see, archive. Okay, let's wait then. It would have been nice if we had added time. I think it's replacing it, if I think about it. Except we want to add time and second to the. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
It's replacing because of how we specified that script. So let's say nano. What's the name of the script? I think backup or sh. So where it stores is a day, right? And if we want to, let's say we should be able to see what do you call it? Time syntax also specified, right? So instead we can add more. So since we know, yeah. So to continue, we have month, we have day, we have to move again. And then we'll say, I think it should be like this. Then you say hour. Then we want, sorry, percentage and percentage Ladies, do we get this? I don't know. I hope you guys. I hope you guys have even enjoyed. I think it's one of the most technical class you're gonna go through. So hopefully we understand because that's what I really want. Anyway, so to make it more correctly, okay, somebody's raising their hand. Networking is given inside. I sorry guys, I forgot. Aye, and I'm the one taking networking. This is not good. People should enter fresh hand. So I'll just add an underscore so that we can read it very well. So this is how to add it, guys. And yeah, we're good. So please note that the reason I added this colon is not necessary, but it's just so that we can read it. But if you don't add it, it's also fine. Before you say that this is how they told you to do, I did not say so. So let's say yes, enter, and that's it. Now let's wait for our current job to run, let's say in the next minute, so that we go back to the archive folder and confirm that it's working fine. So we're supposed to review Funke's assignment, I think. Funke, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, let me just quickly try again. This is
But guys, before Funke finishes, please tell me, how do you guys feel about Bash? How are you feeling? Does it feel overwhelming? Do you think I've confused you? Do you already think DevOps is boring? What are you feeling like? Let's hear it.
I think this part of DevOps is boring. This part.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Aside cron job seems a little sweet, but bash scripts for a while until boring.
Okay. Okay. I get you.
But then I feel like this part of bash script also that we just covered is also basic programming. While you always work with for loops and while loop and everything. And in a way, DevOps itself is boring in this aspect because these are the little boring things you do only once. And once you've automated, you don't have to look at it again for a while.
That is very true. I mean, it's not like a constant part of DevOps, right? It's just like, oh, I've done this and I moved on with my life. I can't even remember the last time I wrote a current job. Okay, I think that was like 2 months ago. So imagine how long that was. It's just chill, guys. Don't be bad at you.
Hello, Amina.
You know?
So I'm still having
Huh?
issues sharing my screen, but I have just sent you a DM on Slack. I just sent you a screenshot.
Okay. Can you post it maybe in the chat under the tags so that we can review that?
All right. Okay.
Okay. So guys, do you see my screen? Ladies.
Yes, we have our backup.
So you see it's increasing according to seconds, 0, 9, 10, 11. You see the seconds, I see second, minutes is running out. Now it's at 11. Once it turns to 12, it will populate it again. So instead of running that bash name of script, it just set it as a cron job. Is this not chill? Huh, guys? So did we enjoy this cron job part at least? If we did not enjoy learning for and while loops. Great. Okay, so as usual, we have an assignment. Yay! I hope we're excited. You guys have to put this into application, you know. And for this, I'm going to send it, right? We're probably going to be, okay, sorry, let me check out the assignment here. I'm trying to find the file it's in. So probably going to be creating a bash script to automate some kind of file management stuff, you know, and you'll schedule it as a current job. And what you do is you will send, this is something that you're going to be pushing to your GitHub repository, right? So I know it's something you did with Salima. and I hope we're all good when it comes to GitHub, right? Because this is where we're not going to be applying these things. So yeah, I think that's all. I'll be sending in the assignments later in the day. Please, guys, like we mentioned yesterday, we need you guys to collaborate, work together, you know, just work together, ask questions. I'd love to see when we come next week. You guys will say, okay, maybe this is what I did, this is what the problem I came, and this is what the solutions we had. Or we want to see you guys communicating on the Slack channel, anything that's possible. And yeah, our DMs are always open. Feel free to chat to me, Sunima, or Rashida, right? And yeah, we'll be there for you guys. And also, please, now if I say LS, you see it's adding more things to my system, right? I beg you people, I cannot, if I want to leave this thing running for every minute, if we come back tomorrow, do you want to see what will be left in my, like the space, the folder this thing would have created? It would have been 1,000,000 plus. So please, if you're not using your current job, don't forget to go and remove it. Thank you very much. So that it will not end in sorrows and tears. Thank you. I removed it. And I'm gonna control X, Y, save. And my current job is gone. I have deleted it. There's nothing there anymore. So that's all for me, ladies. I had a lovely session with you guys. As we said, Bash is not fun, but it was nice doing this. So do you have any questions before we call it a day? Any?
I was hoping someone would ask something around, how they can use it as a DevOps engineer. How do you normally use things like this? Or Mary, that does, I've forgotten your role, but like I think you help out doing some things, and I feel like, this is something you could also be using. Or like asking for practical examples of where you would apply things like this, right?
Nana, you have given them the idea.
So
They will ask it now. Who wants to ask it? Rashida has given the idea. I on mute. Who wants to ask it? Because we've been talking about how it's used to like automate repetitive tasks, right? And I think I even given an example about maybe like a database you want to back up or something.
yeah,
But there are also so many other examples. So
there's
Rashida,
so many examples.
put
You
them
might use
some.
it. I think you also mentioned using it in monitoring for like uptime checks or so. You could just be like, make sure this website is always available. I know it's a very local way
And so
to do
like
it.
check if the server is down. It's very local way,
Yeah.
as she said.
So you just have a badge that is just
Even
pinging this
alerts.
endpoint. Sorry?
I say even to send like an alert and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's everything. You could clean up files, you could clean up your logs, and
yeah.
when your disk space is filled up, you could literally write a current job to say, okay, maybe if my logs are older than 7 days, please
Get
remove them,
rid of it.
get rid of them. And you can use it to deploy your code. In fact, and we reach GitHub actions and all of that. It's also, works as a current job. Sometimes, you can trigger deployments and all of that. You can set that there. There are just so many things. Can anybody give us any example? We're giving you guys like 4 examples of like.
I remember that I used cron job, and instead of sending it as a file, it was sent to an email instead.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can use it to
And
send reports.
yeah, something like that. So that's why I did not ask where it can be used. So it's just that idea of, okay, I can use this, send it as an email to remind as a reminder for
Mhm.
something.
Mhm. That's an
Thank,
old school example. I'm very sure.
thank you for that idea. I think that this will be a good assignment for you people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's all. You guys get the gist. Okay, we can start recording now. If anybody got lost, please go back to the session, read.